Today, we're going to talk about friends who leave. Friends who leave and never return. So, I've had several friends who have left and have never returned. And I think a lot of it has to do with me being a weirdo and me having that desire to just know everything and address everything and to play with everything, in a philosophical way. And I think that those questions really hinder people, or maybe I'm just too much. I don't know. But the point is, people leave. That's what happens. People change, people grow. And I think one of the things that first we have to address the pain that happens when people decide that they're going to leave. It questions you because you've basically, it's like buying a stock. You've invested all this money, all this time, and you invested your heart, your soul, and you assume that this is going to carry you through your entire lifetime, no matter what, because, you've been drunk together, you've helped each other out, you've been there for each other through the tough times and the good times, and you assume that that's going to carry you through because there are no tough times that could divide the universal love that we all find with each other, and how movies go, and no, I'll never let you go kind of stuff. But life is not movies. People just leave. And they have their reasons. Sometimes they tell you, sometimes they don't. And then they disappear. And it leaves you questioning. I think what it does is it makes you a little bit jaded. It makes you a little bit makes you like hinder yourself. It makes you close yourself because you don't want to get hurt. You don't want to invest all this time, and you question your ability to know. I think that's what it does, is it really shakes you. And I think, that's for a friendship. I assume a marriage and a divorce. Damn, that's tough. I've never been married, so I've never been divorced, but I can assume that that's a really hard, hard, hard one. And the various elements of pain that come with that kind of removal of a person. So what do you do? So now you've gone through the pain. Yay, you've processed. You've gone through the. You wish them well. You wish them well, and do you leave the door open for them? Do you leave the door open for them because you are a universal being onto light, and you believe that friendship is forever? And I say that you do. I say that you do leave the door open for them. To whatever degree, I think unity is better than distance. To whatever degree you can find unity with a person, I say do it. Whether it's through email, whether it's through just liking a comment, on their page or whatever it is, saying, hey, I wish you well, whatever. I always believe in unity, and I always believe that you should never just leave things as they are. If you decide that you want to be the person that leaves a friendship from a person who has also said no to people, and I've been pretty like, no, I don't want to be a friend anymore. And that was, you're a kid, like 18. The point is that you never remove a friend. You really don't. You take some time off. You say, listen, this is too much for me right now, so I'm going to take some time off to process everything. All right? Our friendship will never end. Will never end. But I need some time off. I don't know how long, maybe a couple years, maybe a couple weeks, maybe a couple days. I don't know. But I want to take some time off away from being your friend for the time being. And so I think that is a negotiable thing. I think that, it's something that you can work out and be like, well, can I email you once a month? Can we cut down on how much time we see each other? Yes, totally. But finding that middle ground, because when you leave abruptly and you don't tell a person why, and you don't, especially if you spent years with them as a friend, you create I know for me, you create a brainstorm of fantasies as to why that person left, and you never really necessarily have closure unless you close it yourself, unless you really accept, hey, listen, I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know what they thought about me. I feel like I'm perfect, but I'm willing to change. I don't know what their gripes were, but that's it. I let it go and I don't worry about it, and I wish them well in their own journey and whatever it is going on in their life. And I think that that's the best way that you can address, losing a friend, like when they choose to leave. And that's a tough one. You know, you don't get bitter, you don't get angry, because ultimately everything has a cycle and everything has a purpose. And that person may leave for a specific reason and for a specific time based on what the universe has planned for you. So you may not be able to do things that you were able to do with that person at your side at that time. So you got to think about all those. You got to really think about the universe as a whole. The more you embrace and the more you're open to the change and what is happening, the more the universe will help you cushion you and actually give you something better. The more you, like, if someone comes to you, I don't want to be a friend no more, then you're like, okay, like, that's cool. If you ever decide you want to be my friend again, I'm here for you. But, that hurts. That's, you know what I mean? We'll figure that out later, but I wish you well. Rather than, that person sucks and you're horrible, I wish them, rather than all of that, just because that stuff is going to come back to you if and you're not going to end the cycle. And then that's going to feed your anger again and anger again and anger. Trust me, I know. It's going to feed your anger again, and you're just going to exhaust yourself. You're going to waste your time in thoughts that have no meaning. That person has moved on with their life. They're doing something completely different. They're not even thinking about you. They just made a decision, and that's it, and they're moved on, and they've got other things to deal with. So that's my advice for losing a friend. I want to wish you a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful eternity.